Here. What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. Hopefully you guys had a good Monday night. We're pitching felt shallow pre-flop, but it actually ended up being a little bit deeper. The two obvious ones, or my two highest owns, were Nola and Abbott, but even Blake Snell offered a solid contribution. 30.5 fantasy points, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, but able to stay somewhat efficient in terms of pitch count because only 2 hits allowed. So those were 3 of the more higher owned pitchers yesterday, and 3 highest scoring pitchers. Martin Perez, 23 fantasy points. I had quite a bit of Astros stack, so that's what kept me afloat. The Cardinals, the Rangers, not so much. But it is what it was. Like, that was not a high expectation slate. So I think we just over broke even yesterday, which is, I'll take that just about every day, waiting for that spike slate, right? Today, much larger slate. Way more games, way more pitchers. An interesting spot for pitchers. A lot of pitchers are in perceptually tough matchups, right? So we have to deal with some good pitchers versus good offenses. And then there's a couple of gimme spots. So we're going to go game by game, 12 games, and try to figure out a player pool to carve out for our plan of attack tonight. What's up, chat? What up, Trey? Could be Travis, Jimmy, Andy, Dang Lazy Mofo, M the Great, RC Player here. I hope you guys are doing great today. What up, Just in Sports? Jimmy says, I'm all over Fangraphs and appreciate using it as well. Yeah, man, I love Fangraphs. I actually have the year subscription or whatever it was, just because I rely on them a lot for the back end of the spreadsheet. So it's only right? Here, what up, Jake? Can listen again to hop over to T McBee. Definitely would recommend that. Hopefully, me and Terry. Actually, let me see. I think Terry. I woke up and I read the DM, and now I forgot what it said. Maybe tomorrow or Friday. So, you guys let us know. Another collab stream coming this week. Friday's usually that massive big slate, so maybe that would be the one. I don't know. What up, Cam? What up, Arcadelza, ACP? What happened in that Dodgers series? I don't remember. Having some Phillies and Astros last night, but didn't have Nola. Yeah, Nola did his thing. His best games to inflate his home road splits even more. 5 home run play info. Okay, buddy. Young C. Actually, I mean, no. Had me in the first half, not gonna lie. But all right, let's go check out some weather. Let's get our grind done. Hey, streams brought to you by RunDFS.com. But now get this website. We're migrating some stuff to domain. Blah blah blah. So I told you guys yesterday. It was down yesterday too. It might be back up late tonight or maybe mid to late tomorrow. I don't know how this DNS migration works, but if you're looking to get behind the paywall, to get the spreadsheet, get in the Discord, all that stuff, DM me on Discord or Twitter. And right now we're doing transactions on PayPal. So if you don't have that, then wait like 2 days or whatever. And I believe I just put out a tag in the free Discord. It is 20 a week, 35 for 2 weeks, 70 a month, or, and this is a ridiculous value, 250 for the rest of the entire year, not just baseball, until the calendar year, January 1st, 2024, comes with a $100 Fantasy Cruncher credit, and all that's baked in for $250. So you should jump on that. That was not going to be around much longer, so DM me to take advantage of that. Abbott ended up being 50% owned, yeah. And they added him late on Fanduel as well. But unfortunately, like the maneuver for me on just about every Blake Snell slate is to give the field Blake Snell. and I was half the field on Blake yesterday. And for him to be SP2 of the slate, so like the Nola Blake Snell lineups were technically better than Abbott, but I'm 100% fine with that decision. I'll take what Abbott gave me all day, every day, you know? What up, Anthony? Great name. Dodgers are in Great American Small Park. Yeah, we actually get a red slate on a main slate. Isn't that something? Yeah, I don't understand it. And you know what's funny about that is there's a couple times where pitchers get called up and they're 4K. John Brebbia, check this out. He's $81 freaking $100 on DraftKings. The man's a 1 to 1 point whatever inning opener, right? You got 2 innings out of him against Milwaukee, but you're not ever likely going to project him for more than 2 innings. You know what comes in after him? Sean Manaea, usually. And Sean Manaea is cheaper. He's like, what are we doing, DraftKings? $5,500 for the guy that's going to be way more likely to throw 4 or 5 innings. It just don't make sense. I don't know how their algorithm works. It just, I don't. So, I guess we're likely going to get more call-up pitchers for whatever. Guys, I don't follow golf, but my Twitter is blowing up about this live absorption or whatever the heck happened. And I wish I understood it. No per 8100 course. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy talk. What do I need to do? Oh, we're gonna check out some weather. That's what we're gonna do. What's the early 2 games that we're not gonna, or 3 games that we're not gonna talk about? Philly, Miami, and Tampa. All right, so past that then. Chicago White Sox at the Yankees. Looks more like afternoon rain than evening rain. I expect they play without issue. Winds out to right at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Cool. Kind of coolish in Cleveland when winds blowing in from left center. Cool. Mets at the Braves. Another game where we're clearing out the rain. Low chance of a late start, but the game is fine. Cool. And then Coors. Enough rain around early that a late start or early delay wouldn't surprise me at all. All right. Cool. So no real weather concerns. That's good. Let me pop open the player pool tab. We'll make some notations as we move along. They need to fire ChatGPT. Ellie Cruz. Yeah, if you guys didn't pick him up in season long, and your league's a little soft. Like I was able to get Abbott yesterday. I just picked up Ellie De La Cruz earlier. Kid's a beast. You should probably pick him up. Things hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. Once the Live John has been amazing. If you follow golf, I'd be dying. So I follow a lot of people that follow golf. So like the homies, all my like tout homies from Stochastic are like tweeting about it. So like I get the gist of it. The evil empire that nobody wanted to, basically the Yankees, right? And then all of a sudden they sell out for them. So I get the gist of it, but I wish I was more into it to like laugh at the hypocritical statements from a year or two ago. Live accomplished their goal of gaining and growing the game of golf. Any player that didn't hop on live bags feel like an idiot. Yeah, it's... What are you going to do? Oh, what are you going to do? All right. Let me get this Yankees lineup. I guess we'll start with D-backs. We'll go D-backs Nationals game number 1. Tommy Henry taking on Jake Irvin. D-backs have a 5.5 run total on the road, mind you, up against the Nats with a 4.7 run total. Tommy Henry on the bump for the D-backs, 15% K rate for him, 4.02 expected ERA, 5.42 Sierra, and Jake Irvin. Not much better because he's not. He's literally worse. 5.99 expected ERA, essentially a 6. 1.63 on the whip. 18% K rate and a 5.5% swinging strike rate. So it's actually kind of crazy that he has an 18% K rate when he's got like Bartolo Colon final season-esque swinging strike stuff. So neither pitcher going to be in the blender for me today. And we're looking at offenses here. Namely the D-backs. Jake Irvin is somebody we can pick on, and so far this season we've been able to pick on him liberally with lefties. 16% walk rate to lefties, 2.4 home run per 9, 281 average allowed, a 6.23 xFIP. A couple lefties I definitely like, and number 1 on that list would be Corbin Barrels, or Corbin Carroll. 270 ISO essentially against righties, almost a 930 OPS. So that's a premier spot for him. And this projected lineup giving us Pavin Smith, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll. I'm fine with 1 through 3 right off the rip. So D-backs definitely looking like a team I want to get to for some correlation. I guess we'll meditate on whether we want a full stack or sub stack, but for now we'll just throw their names or throw them in the full stack. And as I type D-backs, I got an alert that says Nationals lineup updated. So let's get this official Nats line typed in. Lane Thomas, Luis Garcia, Joey Meneses, Jamer Candelario, Stone Garrett, Kybert Ruiz, Dom Smith, Alex Collett, and CJ Abrams, literally as projected. Love it when a plan comes together. And then the Nats against Tommy Henry. So Nats are just super pesky. So first and foremost, never considering pitching Tommy Henry, especially when the Nats are striking out as a team, just 17% against lefties. Really tough spot for him. The team as a whole, 113 WRC plus. We kind of talked about this every Nats slate. They don't hit for much power, but they hit for more power against lefties than they do righties. Lane Thomas being a 200 plus ISO guy since the beginning of last year against lefties. Same for Joey Meneses, and same for Stone Garrett. So if we did get to some Nats, especially a Substack, those would be the 3 immediate candidates to get behind Lane Thomas in that leadoff spot. 3,300 on FanDuel. justifiable. 4,400 on DK. I mean, that's a little up there. It's not quite the 5+ case, but I don't think pricing is going to matter too much on a slate like this because there's just so many options. There's bound to be some value free squares, right? So I actually do think maybe a Substack Nats is worth having a couple of shares in a rotation of. It's just one of those two bad pitchers on the bump. Bad hitting beats bad pitching. So we'll put Nationals in the Substack column. And if we move D-backs over to the Substack later, just know that that's a possible outcome because the bottom half of this D-backs lineup doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. So, yeah, bats only in this one for me. And let's get caught up on chat. Apparently, Hideki turned down tons of money to go to Live, and he should have taken that back. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that statement's going to be true for. Some higher known than others, right? What up, Lone Wolf? Hope you're doing all right. Tiger turned down 800+ million. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That. Dude, they got a ton of money. So I'm more on the wrestling side, you know that, right? And WWE goes there, I think, like once or twice a year. The money that they get for that is kind of crazy, and it's nothing compared to the golf money. But man, those guys got some money. I wish they needed a DFS tout. What's ownership on this game? That's a good question. So, let's go Nats, D-backs. Corbin Carroll, highest owned bat from this game, 15%. That's actually kind of a high number for a 12-game slate, 24 teams. But it makes sense. That's the guy I would be targeting for maybe a bomb in this one. A bunch of extra base hits. Otherwise, everything else, sub 10%. Jake McCarthy pushing 10%. Same with Ketel Marte. And then pitching is untouched. Just literally untouched. No Judge today. Judge might have broke his toe. If you guys saw the clip of that catch where he went through the fence, and Dodgers fans, I might be a little mean right now, but those bum Dodgers, not the Dodgers, but Dodgers Association, I don't understand the field at all. I don't understand the fence. I don't understand nothing about this. Oh, that's not the one I want to show. That's Mr. Krabs singing Billie Jean, by the way. That's like incredible. So, and the Yankees love to like not put players on the IL right away. I don't know, this might be too big and too blurry, but so right there, that's the fence that he goes through. This right here at the bottom is a concrete, like 1 foot, not even a foot. This is pure concrete. Why? Why do we have concrete just in the outfield? So his foot hit the concrete and it hurt his toe. He didn't play the next game. He didn't play yesterday, and he might have to go on the IL. And by the way, this is not like a fence to the bullpen. What the heck is this, LA? What are we doing? Jerks. So that's why Judge ain't in the lineup. He'll probably go on the IL. But it's just, I don't know. Hopefully they'll come out with something on it, you know? That's so dumb. It is so dumb. It's like what a booby trap in the outfield, bro. It's like Tall's Hill dumb. Remember that? You remember that? Tall's Hill? Holy crap. Things that never make sense from the get-go. Moving on. Athletics and the Pirates. James Caprillion taking on Mitch Keller. Athletics a 3.3 run total. The Pirates 5.4. The Pirates 5.4. Caprillion on the season 5.58 expected ERA, 1.81 WHIP. Still not able to get lefties out, especially this year. 14.6% walk rate to lefties, and over 3 home run per 9 to lefties. Remember where his home park is, by the way. 318 average allowed to lefties, 7+ xFIP, and guess what? Backing him up, the worst bullpen on the planet. This is definitely a good spot for any offense. And it's still not like a comfortable feeling to get to the Pirates at a bullish, aggressive amount. And the Pirates have a sub 100 WRC plus this season against right-handed pitching, but the matchup just makes too much sense. Picking on Caprillion specifically, I definitely want to look at some of the lefties. Brian Reynolds, Jack Sawinski is in a S tier matchup. A guy that has a 30% K rate. We can neutralize that by just about half with Caprillion's just 15-16% K rate. And then we get to dip into Sawinski's 16.5% barrel rate. So really, really good spot for him. He's got a 3.83 rating in the bomb detector, and that's likely going to be one of the top 10 ratings on the slate. So good spot for him. And then I'm curious to see where the Pirates land in ownership, because it seems like it's not a sneaky spot. So Pirates coming in. Holy crap. The Pirates on a core slate. It's coming. Jesus. 22% for Mercado. Sawinski 20%. Juan Bay 15%. And Brian Reynolds 12%. So, yeah, Pirates are not a secret. And it's actually kind of crazy. And then while we're here, Mitch Keller's at 26% projected ownership. Keller on the season, a 30% K rate, up 10% from last year. His swing and strike rate up 1.3%. Well, actually, almost 2% from last year, 8.7 to 10.4. His called strike going from 17 to 19.6%. Barrel rate went up, but that strikeout rate is really, really good, and 3.15 expected ERA. So Mitch Keller, who's almost 11K on DraftKings, over 11K on Fanduel, gets a strikeout-prone lineup, strikes out on the season 26% against righties, 22% below average in run creation, and just two guys in the projected lineup with a sub 20% K rate overall since the beginning of last year against righties. So Keller's in a really, really good spot. Feel like we're paying a crazy price tag for Mitch Keller. But I'm going to nominate him for tier 2 for now, just for a good part, good matchup. And so far, the numbers are on his side, right? I do think like 30% K rate feels a little unsustainable, because I don't think it was that dramatic of a jump from last year. But I guess that's a combined 4% positive jump from swing strike rate, call strike. So maybe, but it also maybe 30% is a little too much. Like if that goes down to 25%, I'm there. But 25% is still pretty good. So I'm there on Mitch Keller. Athletics lineup, anything weakness wise for Keller so far this season? No, not really. So I don't think I'm gonna get to any athletic stacks. If a random Noda appeared or Seth Brown appeared as one-offs here and there, cool. But I think that's how I approach that game. So Keller, Pirates offense, no Caprillion, not even if there's a fire, and then not touching the athletics stacks, right? Get caught up on chat. Alex Manoah just got optioned. Oof. You just hate to see it. You just, honestly, you hate. I actually do hate to see it, because I would have liked to see him again. Rangers sent down Manoah, or the Blue Jays, yeah. That's crazy, though. Man went from so good to this. The drop-offs are so dramatic in baseball, especially with pitchers. It's wild. Cy Young pitchers end up pitching for AAA Japanese teams, and I don't know, ACP, you might know something about that. And then you guys remember when Greg Holland was like one of the best bullpen arms in baseball up in Colorado, and then the very next season it's absolutely torched? Like that happens so often for pitchers to just drop, you know? Muncie Freeman, Betts Mini, yeah, I like that. What up, Cam? Hope you're doing all right. All right, trickle on to the next game. White Sox at the Yankees. Yankees lineup is out. Clark Schmidt on the bump for the Yankees. Official lineup is Gleyber Torres, Giancarlo Stanton batting second in the year of our Lord 2023. Anthony Rizzo batting third. Why would they do that? And why would they do that? I would put Rizzo too, but whatever. I guess they just want that Judge-like oomph. Willie Calhoun batting sixth. Isaiah Kina, Falefa, Jose Trevino, and then Jake Bowers. The man who hit 2 home runs is batting ninth. The lineup construction today is maybe not how I would have done it. But what are you going to do? Giolito taking on Clark Schmidt. Giolito in the season, $1.25-ish on the whip, 4.54 expected ERA. Still getting strikeouts, 24% clip, 12% swinging strike rate, so able to miss some bats. At sub 9K on DraftKings, if he snuck into a usable game against the Yankees lineup that has 4 guys with a 30% K rate to righties, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Stanton, Donaldson, Volpe, and Bowers. It's just you got to get past the fear factor of the power behind those guys. So, kind of on that thought, let's see what kind of ownership Giolito has. 5%. I think I'd be willing to get there. Yeah, I think I'd be willing to get there. Home run to lefties, 2.19, which is kind of why I put Rizzo second. To righties, he's brought it down a little bit, but the line drive rate's higher than you would want it, 24% line drive rate. Some line drives, especially off the bat of Giancarlo Stanton, don't come back. So, yeah, I could definitely see both sides of that. So I think I'm going to put Giolito in the tier 3. And we're always going to stack Yankees. Like, that's what that was saying, right? And then what about the White Sox today? Clark Schmidt on the bump for the Yankees, 1.51 whip on the season, 26% K rate. Feel like the last few games for him have been better. And then, was it 2 or 3 starts ago, he was on his way to a great game. And then I think they left him in there just a tad too long, one inning too long maybe. But we'll look at his game log results. And remember, they had Monday off yesterday, so they flew from Cali to New York. Had an off day yesterday, able to reset somewhat. So we do have a fresh bullpen to play with. What are we doing here, Fangraphs? What did I just click? Game log, yes. Plate discipline. We'll look at that, and we'll look at batted ball data. So, swinging strike rate for the last 4 games, well above 11%. Batted ball data on his side for 2 of the last 3 games. 2.46 against the Mariners, 3.6 against Cincy. Cincy is really, really bad at baseball, so it is what it is. 4.46 against Baltimore. Baltimore, good at baseball. And then let's look at pitch usage. Has he changed anything from the beginning of the year, especially regarding the cutter? It looks like no. Matter of fact, he's kind of increased the usage of the cutter over the course of the last 4 games. So that was a pitch that was really, really bad to him to start the season. And I guess it has somewhat come around. His cutter value game by game. Yeah, the last 4 games, his cutter has positive grade. Whereas the beginning of the season, the first 3 games, there was like a -2, -1, -2. So I guess he's kind of come around on the cutter. Yeah. White Sox 81 WRC plus on the season against righties. I do think this White Sox team is one of those teams that tug at the heartstrings more than they should, maybe. Them, the Mariners, the Cardinals. Because they did add Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada back recently. So I do think they're better than the team season stats. But I certainly think that it's reasonable to not be a buyer right away, because it's not like they've been going crazy as of late. But you just feel like the talent behind Timmy Anderson, and you got the Tim Anderson, Josh Donaldson narrative, if you guys remember that one. Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, you put those type of bats in Yankee Stadium, even Gavin Sheets, it makes sense. So if we got to some White Sox, I think it makes some sense here. I imagine we get him a decent, oh my god, untouched Yankee Stadium stack against Clark Schmidt, who has almost 2 homer per 9 to lefties. So Benny revenge game, but he doesn't really hit for a ton of power. So Moncada, I think Gavin Sheets would be somebody, if I was coaching the White Sox, I'd probably want to move him up as high as 6th against Clark Schmidt. And then with the bullpen being wide open, I really couldn't project who would come in behind Clark Schmidt. Depends on how early they yank him. But at no ownership, I think we get to some White Sox, right? Like, what's 4% equity in our portfolio if they're going to be under 1%? Just get that type of team in Yankee Stadium, and they play with some attitude. So, yeah, so give me Giolito, give me Yankees, give me White Sox. Now the question is, do we touch Clark Schmidt? He has a 30% strikeout rate to righties. We'll see how they do this. Right now, I'm projecting half and half. 1, 2, 3, 4 lefties. If they somehow okie dokus and give us more lefties, then I'm less than enthralled. But I'm a wait. I'm not gonna put them in my list just yet. So right now, give me 3 of the 4 sides. And that's all I got to say about that. Max Muncy to go. Okay. Why is Jake Bauers batting 9th? I don't know. I really don't understand this lineup construction at all. Like, I like Volpe batting 9th because you turn around the leadoff and he can steal some bags. And if you're not gonna bat him 9th, why put him in the middle of the order? Volpe's a guy that's such a threat when he gets on that it helps the guy behind him. So I guess if he got on, Willie Calhoun has a better. I don't know. I wouldn't have put this lineup this way. Me personally, no. But what do I know? What's the weather looking like? Looks like we're really good for weather for the most part. Looks like there's a lot of rain in the areas of baseball tonight, but it should be done by the time first pitch is scheduled, according to Kevin Roth. So make sure you guys have this page tab. This is free from Kevin Roth of Roto Grinders. That's my main resource for weather information. What a fanatic here! Hope you're doing all right. Will Smith. You like Smith today? Do we have any cutter information for the White Sox? Excuse me. Elvis Andrews, get out of here. Luis Robert. I'd tell you what, they don't really hit the cutter that well. At least haven't hit the cutter. Remember, the pitch report isn't necessarily predictive metrics. It's just grading them on how they've done against pitch types so far. So, always remember that. You know me, you know more than Boone. He's not good. Hey, I will say this. Boone, and there's a couple teams like this, but especially Boone. Some teams aren't actually managed by their manager. Some teams have an analytics department that do all that. And Boone is just the fall guy for that. I don't know if that's the case for sure, but I know it happens. It happens. A lot of managing is not done by managers anymore. At least like in-game decisions like that, or pre-game to some in-game. I did a snake draft on DraftKings, and Rizzo was my last pick. Kind of underlooked. I love Rizzo. He's so good. All right, let's move on to the next game. Astros. Actually, we got a White Sox lineup, so let's get that punched in. White Sox are tossing out Timmy, Benintendi, Robert, Eloy, Moncada, Vaughn. They moved Sheets up to 7. I would have liked them up to 6. Romy Gonzalez and Sebi Zavala. So the one guy that hit the cutter. LOL, not in the lineup. There's some strikeouts here for Clark. There's 4 guys that strike out under 20%. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Astros. Hunter Brown taking on Kevin Gausman. Astros a 3.8 run total. Gausman's Blue Jays have a 4.4 run total. So, interesting matchup. This is what I was alluding to earlier. A lot of good pitchers are in perceptually tough matchups, and this is Exhibit A. Hunter Brown on the season, 3.6 expected ERA with a 29% K rate. He throws gas and he can get strikeouts. And inversely, Kevin Gausman pitching to a 3.31 expected ERA, a 33% K rate. And both teams, have respect on paper to be tough matchups. You look at this projected Astros lineup, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with probably an aggregate 17% K rate. So unstoppable force, immovable object. And when it comes to strikeouts, maybe. I think I'm usually the type to lean towards the talent of the pitcher. But I think this is a four corners game. So let's pull up Houston-Toronto. Getting a lot of ownership on Gausman. Probably too much for my liking at 40%. So I might undercut that a little bit. Just because the strikeout rates in the projected Astros lineups are really, really low. But I can't like push back too much. But it just feels like on a 12-game slate, I don't know that one pitcher should be soaking 40% ownership. But again, it is it makes sense. This is talent-wise and metric-wise, Kevin Gausman's just been a dog. So I don't mind matching the field if that's how you want to approach Gausman. Maybe that's something to do in 20 or less lineups. I just don't think I'm good in 40% in 150 on Gausman, if that makes sense. So, like, if you got the 20 lineups, yeah, 40%, whatever. So let's do this. Let's put Gausman tier 2, and then let's put Hunter Brown is a 3, and Hunter Brown's 10K. Gausman's 11K. So the good pitchers are getting priced up too. We got a hefty price on Mitch Keller as well. And then I think, well, I mean, the Astros got to be under 1%, and anytime that team gets that low, at least I'm assuming a 40% on pitchers, not against a team stack with any ownership. Yeah, they're under 1%. So anytime you get Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker under 1%, I'm in on that. So again, if we get to 4% just to be above the field, I'm here. And then the Blue Jays probably the same. Let's go back to ownerships. Four corners. Did you guys know? I saw this stat the last game. Vladdy Jr. has not homered in Toronto yet. That's crazy, huh? 2% or less. So this is four corners for me. Obviously the pitchers are ranked higher, but versus the field, this 1% stack rates for Astros and Blue Jays. That's just too much talent, and you're gonna get some leverage on the Astros versus a high-owned pitcher. So I don't mind that. We look at the, let's see, really not too many weaknesses to speak of. A 24% line drive rate to righties for Gausman feels like that's his only blemish, and then elevated line drive rate for Hunter Brown as well. Brown against righties, man, 60% ground ball rate. It's just nasty. So yeah, we're here, all four sides. I don't know how much to allocate to Hunter Brown though. Let me see. Did we say 30% on him? 2%. Huh? So probably up to 10%. I'll probably cap it at 10. He's a flamethrower. Let's look at the pitch report for a couple things. 40% fastball, flamethrower with the cutter. The Blue Jays really don't profile that well against the cutter. They do profile decent against the curveball. But his curveball plays off of that high velo. And then they got decent grades against the fastball. So, yeah. And Gausman, inversely, that splitter. Astros have some solid grades. So, yeah, I just think that is a wide range of outcomes game. The more probable outcomes is the pitchers have okay games. But I just think the ownership on the stacks themselves probably too low. So I'm there. Giants getting low ownership in course against Lamet. Lots of good spots. Yeah. What up, Charles here? What up, Greg? Hope you're doing all right. What up, Fanatic? FD. FD what? FD ownership for Gausman? Let's go check that out. $37 likes. Can we get to 50? 50 would be a dream. Main slate. Gausman on Fanduel. Gossman's only 15% on FanDuel. That's a crazy contrast, huh? Going 40% to 15%, where he's the highest owned on DraftKings, but the third high. Clark Smith is 16. Clark Smith SP2 on the site. I mean, that seems crazy. Clark Smith barely gets to the 6th inning, or barely closes 6th inning. I don't disagree with the ownership. I disagree with the sentiment that he should, like, I don't know. I didn't type his name for DraftKings. There's no way I'm getting the. Hey man. And Mitch Keller just 8%. I think that has to do with that price tag, but you could always find the 2K specials to offset that. So I like the FanDuel pricing. Looks like it has way more edge than the DraftKings. Not pricing, the ownership looks like it has way more edge than the DraftKings, the way this is set up. Because I'll take Mitch Keller sub 10% all day. And then Gossman, right? I'm willing to get the 25%, be 10% over the field. Interesting. Got him at 830 in co-op. You've been playing. Man, I tell you what, I stopped grinding co-op like 2 weeks ago. My duo, yeah, we just kept getting into freeze-offs, man. It got a little unfortunate. But I don't think we barely got to like 700. But I kind of got back on Fortnite in the last week and a half. So usually every year that's the same circle of life. I get on MLB The Show, I grind it to the core for like a month and a half, and then all right, back to Fortnite. Yeah, I haven't loaded that game up in like a week. But I'm willing to try it. It's just I don't like the way, like, I love the thought of co-op. I hate the way it's set up though. You should be able to choose all your players. There should be no freeze-offs. And you shouldn't get punished for freeze-off. That's the biggest, like, oh my god, your game sucks, it freezes. If I back out of a freeze-off, why do I have to wait 2-3 hours to play another game? So there was so much negative that it just kind of pushed me away. It's hard to get the premium bats on FanDuel with Keller. Let's see, how much is, let's see, value. I'm gonna say how much is LA De La Cruz, or is he even on FanDuel? But it's okay to not get premium bats anyway. Like I'd rather take the floor at pitcher. I guess Ellie's not on FanDuel. All right. Any crazy value under 2K here? Yeah, pricing's kind of stiff. I prefer this version of DFS though. I want it to be a little tougher. So Pavin Smith, yeah, there's a couple guys under 3K. That's interesting. Let's think about that. Let's go Mitch Keller, and let's put 80% randomness. Now these aren't my projections here. This is Fantasy Cruncher's default projections. But just as a test. People know how to freeze the game. Yeah, I keep going, like people putting Ohtani in and stuff. Well, I've had it a lot in co-op. It's unfortunate. Game has potential. Talking like the macho man. The game has potential. Ooh, yeah. Mookie 45% in 20 lineups if I lock in Mitch Keller, some Austin Riley. You get to some, but I think you do have to lean on a couple of value plays a little bit more. And Seiya Suzuki at 40% is rough. So, interesting. But even then, even if I wanted to get value at pitcher, man, Clark Smith, like, what's the redeeming quality for him to be number 2 in ownership when I don't think he has one quality start ever? Like, ever? Like, I gotta have a pitcher that can get me a quality start. I just have to on FanDuel. And a slate like this, it's a must. DK, you gotta choose between Ellie and Marcano as shortstop. Hope Marcano stays chalk. Yeah, that's fair. RG thinks Ellie's chalk at shortstop on DraftKings. It'd be interesting to see how that develops. Because we saw the Abbott yesterday, right? No one knew who Abbott was 3 days ago, and then he had such high ownership, so makes sense. Right now it looks like their ownership is pretty linear or similar, so we just assume both of them at 20% on a 12-game slate. I think that's fair. Could it get higher? Sure, but I love Sawinski. Oh wait, that's outfield. It's definitely eclipsing everybody else, lapping them. So right now they're both projected high. So in terms of the definition of the word chalk, which is just high own. I don't know. I saw an interesting tweet from Neil a couple weeks ago or a week ago about what people think chalk means. Is chalk to you guys just mean high own? Because that's how I perceived it. And then chalk also has a negative connotation. But remember, the way to look at it isn't necessarily how owned. It should be ownership versus probability of success. It is a little far-fetched to expect anyone on a 24-team slate to be have a 22% probability of being the best play, but it does make sense pre-flop, and then it just really doesn't have to be. You don't have to necessarily win the position in the hitting spots. More so, that is for pitching. So, and I get it. And then past Marcano and De La Cruz, and Marcano's not super sexy long-term anyway. This is a really yuck position today. I could get behind maybe a Duran or a Corey Seager, somebody like that, sure. And maybe that's an interesting build, is to kind of build, pay up at shortstop. Like Seager, Dansby against a lefty. There's some options to get different, but 20%. So a combined 40+% for two guys at the position on a 24-team slate is certainly kind of crazy. So, what are you gonna do? Got Sawinski and some bait, yeah. Decent macho. I can't do macho for too long. It hurts my voice. There's good chalk and there's bad chalk for sure. Yeah, and good chalk, bad chalk is just essentially ownership versus probability of success. So, let's move on. Wait, any lineups of teams we've already talked about come out? The Athletics lineup came out, so let's get that punched in. We've got Ruiz, Noda, Brent Rooker, Seth Brown, Aledmus Diaz, JJ Bleday, Shea Langoliers, Chase Peterson, and Jonah Bride. That's your A's lineup. So K rates are still pretty high. There are now 3 guys with a sub 20% K rate, but a lot of guys with 25% or better K rate. So still a positive matchup. Also, Blue Jays lineup is green lighted, so we'll get that punched in. We've got Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladdy, Brandon Belt, Whit Merrifield. No Matt Chapman in the lineup tonight. Looks like Dalton Varsho, kind of a disappointing season for him. Alejandro Kirk, Yabo Anoche, Kevin Kiermaier, and Santiago Espinal. Welcome back. Welcome back. So no Chappie. I guess Chappie was more of a strikeout guy though, right? So this lineup actually is pretty rough now for Brown. So his 2% ownership kind of makes sense. Only Brandon Belt right now with a real elevated strikeout rate against righties since the beginning of last year. Still not a lot of bomb rating goodness here because Hunter Brown's ability to keep the ball on the ground and induce soft contact. But, good hitters can beat good pitching. Bad hitters can beat bad pitching. Abbott was good chalk at 4K. In retrospect, absolutely. That was my highest owned pitcher on DraftKings, so I'm not pushing back. But I think everyone can create their own model on simulating probability of success. So that's really all it comes down to. Because sometimes bad chalk pre-flop will come through and be a good play, and I think people kind of lose sight of that. Like usually Blake Snell to me is bad chalk, but every dog has his day. Verdugo, Yoshida, Justin. Oh, Yoshida's batting second. Devers batting fourth. That's different. Justin Turner. So we're moving on to the Red Sox game, by the way. Tristan Casas, Enrique Hernandez, Jaron Duran, and Manuel Valdez, Reese Maguire. Confirmed Red Sox lineup. And then Guardians lineup is out too. Stephen Kwan, who homered for the second time this season the other day. Gabriel Arias, J-Ram, Naylor. Josh Naylor starting against a lefty. Josh Bell, Andres Jimenez. I guess he's like an everyday starter, but he just his overall metrics dip so much against lefties. This team is kind of bad. What are you gonna say? Red Sox 3.9 run total, Guardians 3.9 as well. So low projected affair. James Paxton so far 33.8% K rate in 19 innings of work, a 4.64 expected ERA. Is allowing the long ball to righties, almost a 1.6 home run per night to righties, 27% line drive rate, high fly ball, high hard contact rate. That's not what you want. But the Guardians slugging 366 as a team against lefties with an 86 WRC plus, and in this now confirmed lineup, Josh Bell and J-Ram, the only two guys that I would get to. I guess every now and then Mike Zunino, but I tend to not like playing Zunino against strikeout pitchers. So Paxton's 34% K rate meets Zunino's 36% K rate. So if he does make contact, yeah, he's got a good shot of generating some power, especially since Paxton gives up some power, but that's a tough spot. So I do think on a slate this vast, I'm not likely to be super enthralled with a full Guardian stack. I really am. And we might be looking at like a sub stack if we get there, but it really is just J-Ram, and every now and then Zunino finds the fences. At 2,200, we talked about making some value clicks. Maybe that's a tournament play right there because he does have it in him. Shane Bieber, his mama don't like me, and she likes everyone. Up against this Red Sox team that strikes out 20.8% on the season against righties with a 104 WRC plus. This confirmed lineup, we got Casas, Duran, Valdez, and Reese Maguire. The four guys with over 20% K rates. 1 through 4, scrappy. And Kike Hernandez, even though he's not doing much else, still sub 20% carry since the beginning of last year. So Shane Bieber, work cut out for him, and Bieber has not been the strikeout guy of yesteryear. Still really high in the called strike department. The swinging strike rate still 10+%, but is not converting to Ks, and he's pitching to a almost 4.9 expected ERA. So hard to feel super warm and fuzzy about Bieber putting together a strong game here against the Red Sox. But 9,600, we talked about some of the elevated ownership so far. I would imagine very little ownership, if any, is getting to Shane Bieber, 2.5%. So him, Hunter Brown, all in the same area. I don't think right now I want to nominate him. I don't. But at 2%, like if he filled out back end of a portfolio and some contrarian lineups, whatever. But I do respect this Red Sox lineup, so I'm leaning that a little bit more. Bieber struggles so far this season, getting left-handed hitters out. 304 average allowed, sub 19% K rate, 25% line drive rate, and a 1.62 home run per nine. So a lot of lefties in this lineup to pick on his weaknesses. So I do think we get to some shares of the Red Sox. I got respect for the Guardians bullpen. I think Mr. Roth mentioned something about wind blowing in here. Wind's kind of cool with winds blowing in from left center at 10 miles an hour. Solid pitching weather. And by cool, it's sub 70 degrees. So is a bump for pitching. So I don't know. Are you guys thinking anything crazy here? If I got to none of this game, whatever. But I do think there's a lot of green for the Red Sox. Rafi Devers and Yoshida especially are interesting. So maybe we go Substack Red Sox and Guardians. I don't think I'm gonna make them a issue. So we'll go Substack Red Sox. And right now I don't think I'll get to Paxton and or Bieber. But neither one of those guys I would fault you for taking shots on. But right now, I don't think I will. For now. Varsho has more homers than Vlad. Yeah. I'm getting to some Musgrove. I feel like he's too cheap. Musgrove was projected for pretty decent ownership. He's highest on Fanduel. I think he was second on DK. Is tonight the perfect night to go to the Braves? Where do they rank in your stacks? We haven't got to that game yet, but we'll get there shortly. Gotta hope the Coors game isn't a pinch hitter parade, correct? Always with a Gabe Kapler team, right? Some other lineup just came out, so before we go forward, let's go backwards. And I think it was the D-backs lineup. Let's get that punched in. So we've got Pavin Smith, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, Christian Walker, Emmanuel Rivera in the 5 spot, Josh Rojas, Gabe Marino, Jake McCarthy, and Perdomo. That's our lineup. So nothing really changes for me. Yeah, still the same philosophy. And we'll get back to where we were. This Rockies lineup came out. Astros just dropped. Alright, we'll double check that then. Dubon, Pena, Jordan, Bregman, Tucker, Abreu, Corey Jokes is batting 7th. Myers. Help me out, chat. Is that Jake Myers? I think it's Jake Myers, yeah. Jake Myers. So, only one difference from the projected. Nothing changes perceptually. Dodgers at the Reds. Oh boy. Tony Gonsolin taking on Luke Weaver. The LA Dodgers have an implied run total of 6.2. The Great American Ballpark has a 44% better than league average home run rate. This is a great spot for LA. Luke Weaver is coming into this game with a 4.19 expected ERA, 1.35 on the WHIP, 2.42 home run per 9 to righties, 2+ against lefties. I mean, this should be stack of the day. Probably projects better for me than Coors, the Dodgers do. But I imagine they're going to come with premium ownership. So look in that. Yeah. Max Muncy 17%, Freddie Freeman 17%. I mean, this is a lot. And I get it. And I don't think when we talk about probability of success here, I don't think there's a low probability of success for the Dodgers to go crazy in the small park. So I'm gonna have to be there on the Dodgers. But as we always say with these high-owned stacks, we got to do our due diligence on making them as unique as possible. So shuffling in a low-owned substack or a low-owned pitcher or low-owned pitchers is what it is. But Dodgers just make too much sense in there and just an incredible spot. Probably, I would say, aggregate 16% ownership looking at these ownerships. Maybe 14. Yeah, no pushback. Just a crazy spot for them. So I put Mookie on the cover. And then the Reds against Gonsolin. Gonsolin this season, 4.83 expected ERA. Overperforming results-wise with a 1.7 ERA. Weakness-wise, whatever you're thinking. Maybe looking for more home runs to lefties with a 47% fly ball rate, 36% hard contact rate. But generally speaking, this Reds team is not one that's very talented, so I'm not going to push the issue on getting there. Yesterday, we really liked Jake Fraley. And then they put him in the leadoff spot. And then he got scratched with allergies, right? So we'll see. Hopefully he's feeling good. Both lineups are out, by the way. Let's get those green lighted. Mookie, Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Martinez, David Peralta, the freight train, batting 6th. Jason Hayward. And Jason Hayward, I'm not even going to do it. Miguel, I swear, there's a thing in our premium Discord where every time I Doug Hayward, he homers that day. Except when I talk about the Yankees. Fraley, Matt McClain, Jonathan India, Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson, Kevin Newman. Takes a good look at Randy. And Luke Malley. So for the sake of research, some of you guys that maybe don't track the prospect list or whatever, Ellie De La Cruz gets called up today. What was it? Was it not India? Somebody got hurt. This is one of the top prospects in baseball right now, the way he's performing. Definitely their top prospect. And he's been kind of stuck behind the position because one of their redeeming qualities is the shortstop position. But a 297 average in AAA right now, a 1 OPS, 12 homers so far, 11 bag swipes. We pull up his splits in the minors. Man, dude, my mouth is really dry today. .333 average to lefties, 277 to righties. He has got 3 bombs in 3 bombs, 57 at bats to lefties, 9 bombs and 101 at bats to righties. Mentioned he swipes bags. Does strike out a good clip, it looks like. 101 at bats to righties with 31 K, so 30% K rate to righties. But the talent is there. The 1 plus OPS is really, really good. And he is introduced to us at 2K flat min on DraftKings in the cleanup spot in Great American Small Park. So makes a lot of sense right now, sitting around 20% ownership. You do you, boo-boo, right? I don't know that there's a decision I could disagree with. You want a full fade 20% owned guy on 12-game slate? Makes sense, especially a rookie in his first start. Gonsolin against lefties. We're talking about a switch hitter here. Has a 111 batting average allowed, but the xFIP is really high. So let's take a second to dig into Tony Gonsolin because his expected ERA is crazy. Considered his actual ERA. So my guess would be is that his BABIP is really, really on his side. So let's go splits. Control F BABIP. What is all this, Billy? Here we go. So he's got really his career has been all about low BABIP. So at some point I just buy into it. But he has a 155 BABIP this season. That's crazy. And then let's split the BABIP from lefties to righties. 155 BABIP is how many innings? 35. A 111 BABIP to lefties, 192 BABIP to righties. And that's not... It's hard contact, still 36%. So, historically, that's unsustainable, even compared to his career averages of 250, right? So, yeah, you would project that to come up. That's crazy. That's crazy. Good for him. Good for him. Good for him. Get caught up on chat. Corbin Carroll's been putting in work, but the price is too high. Corbin barrels. I have a 3-man Braves, 3-man Pirates, 2-man Milwaukee mini stack with Keller. I dig it. Core's the best water. Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. Right now, this isn't Core. I just bought 1 bottle because we have this filtration system in the kitchen. But I just needed a bottle, so it started as Core, but now it's just earth water. My sister has like a filtration system, and then in the water itself, she's like rocks. So I don't know. We're in touch. We're grounded. You know. 120, really? 44 likes? Come on. Hook a brother up. So how do we threw Dodgers? What are you guys doing, chat? What are you doing with Ellie De La Cruz? If I look at this Reds lineup, just notwithstanding the opposing pitcher, Fraley, Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz, 3 names that stand out. And the Dodgers bullpen actually 12% above league average in home runs allowed. So maybe there's some sneaky backdoor potential. I don't know. Substack, like, I can name 3 or 4 for a Substack. It's essentially 1 through 4. Maybe Spencer Steer gets in for me. Maybe we get to a Substack. We'll stack the ballpark. It's rare we get the Great American Ballpark on a small slate. So let's throw Reds in the Substack. Let's do it. Do it. Okay. Let's move on. Mets and the Braves. We're thumbing though. We're getting through it. So this one has a weather alert on Labs, and as a reminder, I believe Kevin Ross said, yeah, it's raining, but it should be good by the time go time is. Or green yellow, another game where we're clearing out the rain, low chance of a late start, but the game is fine regardless. So we can be at peace. Braves lineup is out. We're looking at Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Sean Murphy, Eddie Rosario, Ozzie Albies, Marcell Ozuna, Orlando Arcia, and Michael Harris the second. So as projected, that's good. Mets 4.5 run total. Braves 5.8 run total against Carlos Carrasco. Oh, cookie. Carrasco pitching to a 5.4 expected ERA, 1.37 whip, just a 14% K rate. That's not what you want. Elder on the other side, 21% K rate, 4.16 expected ERA. Results are better than the metrics suggest, but 4 expected ERA isn't, like, you know what I'm saying? It could be worse. 1.92 ERA though. You expect that to come back a little bit. So far, his ground ball rates are really, really good. A 66% ground ball rate to righties. I'm going to see what this Mets lineup actually comes out as, but they can get lefty heavy in a hurry. 4 or 5 lefties in a projected. So we look at his lefty splits, 4+ xFIP, 22% K rate. Again, keeping the ball on the ground, hard contact rate elevates to both sides of the plate. But just a 7% barrel rate. I say just a 7% barrel rate, which is, it's not egregious, but it's not elite. I think he's coming off one of his best games ever, too. Yeah, he went 7.1 against Oakland. It's Oakland, right? Solid, but nothing that I feel like I have to go out of my way to get to. So Braves offense, definitely want to get to that. And you got to start to wonder now, if we're getting aggressive ownership on the Dodgers and the Pirates, where do the Braves fall in all this? Wow. What? Just crazy. 10 plus. So another high owned stack. So you're telling me, so let's look at the stack, or the Braves. 18, basically 10 to 18% for the beef. Look at the Dodgers. 11 to 17% for the beef. We look at the Pirates. 4 guys over 10%. So we still got some Kawhi, and then we still got the 20% ownership on Ellie De La Cruz. So we got a lot of spots where there's some coagulation, as I call it, for ownership, which is interesting. Which means every other team, like the Astros, like the Blue Jays, not every other team, but there's some teams like the Astros, the Blue Jays, coming in with relatively low ownership, all things considered. But once again, Astros are really good. Or excuse me, the Braves are really good. 101 WRC plus is not good, but they play. You feel like they're better than that, right? 283 ISO against righties since the beginning of last year for Matt Olson. Good spot for him against Cookie. Cookie just a 0.64 home run per 9 against lefties. Kind of expect that to regress eventually. High walk rate, 13% K rate. Is keeping the ball on the ground to his credit. And then for righties, 0.87 home run per 9. So the home run per 9 is solid for both sides of the play. Elevated line drive rate. So I'm there on the Braves as well. And again, just have to maybe shuffle the deck with lower owned stacks, lower owned pitchers. And what about the Mets against Elder? I think, therefore I am. Elder's hard contact rate super elevated, but the fact that the balls go straight into the ground half the time. Maybe we substack the Mets here. Bullpen's been above average. So I'm thinking early on we substack Mets. So we'll go Mets on the sub. And then I'm I'm not interested in really either pitcher. 9 plus K for Elder is just kind of rough. Mets are a low K team anyway. That's how we play that. So we'll go Braves and a substack Mets. Makes sense. Deer Park, that's good water. I never heard of that. 82 degrees, wind blowing out, Gonsolin's due for regression. I dig it. Braves have been bad, I'll pass. Positive regression someday, but yeah, I mean, no pushback. I think this is a slate to really do whatever you want. There's a lot of freedom. Low owned cores, I might be full stacking cores there, right? Was it when I was putting BVP? And again, I don't use BVP. I just put it in there for fun. I think I saw Eddie Rosario Eddie Rosario has really solid numbers in 43 plate appearances against Carrasco, 3 bombs. It was just funny. And the only reason that stuck out to me is because Rosario's kind of having a hot week. And are the Braves struggling right now? It doesn't feel like that to me. You talking about that D-backs series? They had 8 runs on Sunday, 5 runs on Saturday, just 2 on Friday. Yeah, 4. All right. I mean, 8 runs in their last game is. I'd take that. But I don't. As John Cena tweeted this morning, past results are not indicative of future results. But Rosario, solid last week for him. Last 3 games especially. 3 homers, bunch of ribeyes, bunch of hits. Good for him. So if you are a BVP guy and hot streak guy, 5-hole Eddie Rosario is for the taking. I'm just saying, at least there's some sample size. It's not like, oh, he's 3 for 8, bro. All right, I feel like another lineup came in from a game we've already talked about. We're getting a lot of lineups. So basically every game we've already talked about has a confirmed lineup. So let's get the Pirates. Pirates are a hot topic here, right? So Marcano, Brian Reynolds, McCutchen, Jack Sawinski, Connor Joe's batting 5th. So no Carlos Santana today. Josh Palacios. Keep Brian Hayes in the 7 spot, man. Dropping Rodolfo Castro. And I hate Austin. Austin Hedges in a 9 spot. Cool. Alright, everything's green. Green. Now let's get back to the Braves. Although we're done with the Braves. Guns BV play. Okay. It's tied for 13. Good pitching. Yeah, I mean, 100's the average, so that's not shocking. I think a lot of people go Sawinski today. Sawinski looks really, really good. There's a lot of hitters in really good spots today. Next game on the docket. The Orioles and the Brewers. We did get an Orioles lineup. And it is Adam Frazier, Adley Rutschman, Anthony Santander. I hate Austin. Austin Hayes. Here we go. AARONHICKS. He who shall not be named. Ryan Mountcastle. Ramon Urias. The man's batting 6th. The man is batting 6th. The man is batting 6th. Dude couldn't crack a lineup 3 weeks ago. Nobody cared who he was until he grew the goatee. Give me a break. Kyle Gibson taking on Freddie Peralta. 4.64 expected ERA for Kyle Gibson so far. 4.93 Sierra. Just a 16% K rate. Brewers 93 WRC plus against righties. They've been bad against lefties too. More bad. Worser against lefties. But really bad, like a lot of red here in terms of hit for average. So this is one of those, even if Gibson like stalled them for 6 innings, you don't really expect a ton of strikeouts. But this Brewers lineup could spot you a few. Only Owen Miller has a sub 20% K rate to righties. So maybe Gibson has a sneaky steal strikeout game. And at 7,300, could you take 18 fantasy points in the SP2, buy an extra bet? I think possibly. Has offered 20 plus fantasy points 2 of the last 3 games. Cleveland, not a strikeout team. Milwaukee is. So maybe Gibson is kind of maybe he's in the back pocket. What are you guys thinking on Kyle Gibson? Would you be willing to take some SP2 shares of him, just hoping he accidentally gets some strikeouts? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Like it's just one of those strategy things. Because otherwise, like keeping the ball in the park against righties, he's not giving up a high average. He is struggling against lefties and Yelich, Rowdy, Two-Ring, Blake Perkins. So it's one of those, I see both sides of the spectrum here, and he's also keeping the ball on the ground. I'm kind of leaning towards on DraftKings. I think I would take a little bit of him. What kind of ownership would that cost? Baltimore. 5%? I'll take 8%. Right? Like, right? Brewers, man. I'll take a dabble. A dollop of Gibson. So I'm gonna put Gibson at very, very bottom of tier 3. I can just see it, right? It's like almost at this point, any team I wouldn't stack, I'd take a shot on the opposing pitcher. Freddie Peralta on the bump here. 4.4 CRA, 4.45 expected ERA, 1.41 on the WHIP, 23% K rate. He has been struggling to get righties out. 291 average allowed, 4.47 xFIP. xFIP against lefties is elevated as well. When Peralta's good, he's a strikeout guy, right? He can fetch a ton of strikeouts. He had a 10 strikeout game at Coors, 8 strikeout game against Detroit. I guess in retrospect, St. Louis, New York. Positive ground ball to fly ball ratio, it looks like, on the season. He's another guy. Like the only pushback here is I actually like the Orioles as a team long term, and they generally don't have a ton of strikeouts. But I'll tell you, once you get to Aaron Hicks, 6 through 9, we got a 23+% K rate. So hey, if I'm willing to play $7,500 contact pitcher against a strikeout team, why wouldn't I be able to play a strikeout pitcher? You just have to kind of grit your teeth, because I do think there's some good bats in the Orioles. I think I do that. I think I fudge. I'm going to get to some Peralta. What's the pitch counts looking like for him? It's got to be fully stretched out. Are we touching 100 ever? 85, 95? I think man, it just seems really dumb to play Gibson with that explanation and not be willing to take. I'm going to put them both in like the same square. Kyle Gibson and Freddie Peralta. And then I think I'm going to go Orioles Substack. I really don't know that I'm going to get behind too much oomph of the Brewers. Bomb detector's not liking just about anybody, so I'll take some Orioles. Not named Aaron Hicks. No, I like Higgsy. What up, K Johnson? Trying to get the CDL. Let's go. My boy's been telling me for like 8 years, like, going, I'm going to get my CDL. Cool. As long as the chalkiest guy doesn't hit 2 bombs. Not many cheap pitchers I'm into. A row with a small amount of Gibson. I think Gibson. What kind of ownership we get on the other side here? Freddie, 30%. So he's not as crazy. That makes me not like him. I'm still gonna play him, but I won't be at 30%. Wow, 30%. Is that 2 on the slate? That's 3. It's tied for 2 essentially with Musgrove. That's interesting. Indubitably. All right. Mets lineup came out. Look at that, punched in. Nimmo, Lindor, Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, Daniel Vogelbach. He's back. Brett Beatty, Eduardo Escobar against not a lefty. That's interesting. And Omar Narvaez. So, yeah, Mets are going to stay as a substack. And then that's it. Mediocre pitchers can wipe a bad team anytime. Yeah, but also mediocre offenses can wipe mediocre pitchers. That's just baseball, Susan. Cardinals and the Rangers. Round 2. Fight Donovan, Goldie, Gorman, Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Burleson, Paul DeYoung, Jordan Walker, Tommy Edman, as projected, your confirmed lineup. Rangers on the other side, Semien, Seager, Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Robbie Grossman, Arian Foster, Houstonian for beer, Leody Taveras. That's your lineup. Cool. This game kind of underwhelmed me yesterday. It was like one of my favorite spots. Today, 4.5 run total for the Cardinals, 5.3 for the Rangers. Matthew Liberatore, 6.1 expected ERA, 18% K rate. Dane Dunning on the opposite side, 4+ expected ERA, 16% K rate. So again, neither pitcher looking overly appealing against two offenses that, by hook or by crook, I still respect. Cardinals pushing their way up to a 107 WRC plus in the season against righties, and the Rangers 133 WRC plus against lefties. Rangers offense is a bad man. So we're gonna get to the Rangers now. If the Dodgers are chalk, if the Pirates are chalk, surely the Rangers can't be chalk. After a down game, they're not. And don't call me Shirley. All right, finally, an offense we can get to. So Rangers, goes without saying, we're gonna full stack them. And then Cardinals, probably the same thing. All right, Dane Dunning, though I prefer the Ranger side much more. But if the Cardinals come in at premium ownership, the downside with Dunning is, even though like his expected ERA and those metrics are high, the xFIP is high, he's still got a really high ground ball rate. And I'm assuming that the roof is going to be closed because of inclement weather around Texas. That's just my guess. You guys can confirm or deny that for me. That'd be lit. So yeah, give me the Rangers offense, and I'll take some stabs of the Cardinals. Maybe we go substack Cardinals and we just keep it tight. Goldie, Gorman, Arenado, maybe a little Donovan, maybe a little Contreras, but Dunning is a ground ball guy. So actually, Dunning hasn't allowed a homer this season. Good for him. Oh my god. So we'll go Cardinals here. Lit. That's how we play that. That's how we do that. Optimizer keeps spitting out Musgrove and Peralta. Don't love it. Gotta change the projection then. Anything can happen, but a bad team's usually always a bad team, and I bet on the pitcher versus a bad team. I'm the complete opposite, Chuck. I'll take a bad hitting to beat bad pitching. Obviously, it's not 100% success rate, but that's been my mantra for years. I'll take bad hitting at the major league level versus bad pitching at the major league level every time. Nothing yet on Globe Life? Alright, cool. Tyler Anderson had a game where he was a top 3 pitcher versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee just, they're really bad against lefties. Really bad against lefties. But you could always look at anomalies, and then you can look at great performances, poor performances. In baseball, you could just about make any statement and find some stats to make it true. So I don't get stuck on that generally. Or I just focus on a few stats, because you have paralysis by analysis real fast if you're diving into the analytics. So I just kind of identify what I think is most valuable, and I think I've talked about this before. For hitters, you give me OPS as a starting point. You give me ISO, stuff like that. And then for pitchers, man, you give me expected ERA and K rate and walk rate. Those 3 alone, I could probably take that to the dance. And then I add a few to it, like home run power since it's DFS. But I don't get too crazy. There's people out there that are trying to look at heat maps of where a pitcher throws, what quadrant the pitcher throws. It's he throws fastballs down and in 8% of the time. This guy hits it there. I like this play. That's getting to ridiculous levels. So But yeah, anyway, everyone has their own process, right? Like, so I'm not dogging anyone's process, but I'm just saying from my perspective. Yeah, that's a bad bet. It's not a bad bet. We've seen it all year long. The Athletics, you look at them; they've dropped some touchdowns this season on bad pitching, and that's the worst team in baseball. So I'm certainly a bad hitting beats bad pitching guy, easily. Sometimes the team can't hit a position player. Yeah. But are you telling me if Lamont Wade Jr. started tonight, you wouldn't stack the Rockies? Rockies suck. They're 88 WRC plus against righties. You would stack them. It is what it is. It's a pre-flop probability. So again, results are what they are. You're always going to find anomalies. You're always going to find something to back up a baseball statement, whether it's a hot take or not. But for me, I'll take bad hitting against bad pitching. Elias Diaz batting fourth for the Rockies. Randall Grichuk, Nolan Jones, Brenton Doyle, Alan Trejo, and Ezekiel Tovar. So this is a spot we talked about. John Brebbia is an 8.1K opener. Doesn't go more than 2 innings. Don't touch him. He is usually Sean Manaea usually piggybacks off him. So let's just do that. Let's put Rockies against lefties, and we'll use Sean Manaea for our metrics. Regardless, I don't think I'm definitely not getting to them. Manaea though, strikeout rate decent, but he's just kind of guessing on how long he'll go. It could be 2 innings, could be 4 innings. And then at this point, we're just kind of stacking the ballpark, right? He went 4 innings against Pittsburgh, 53 pitches, went as many as 83 pitches against the Twins. In that game, he was dealing 8 strikeouts, right? So, if you decided to get queued on DraftKings at 5.5K, you do you. Just don't say I told you to do it. Otherwise, we're looking at offenses. And now we mentioned all these other teams being aggressively owned. What is Coors? 5% or less for the Rockies. So some ownership on the Giants, right? Not as much as the Braves and the Dodgers, but 3 guys in the double-digit percent ownership. So it's still relatively low for Coors anyway. And then if you're going to get an opportunity at Coors to be low owned, contrarian Coors stack, sure, go for it. And I think I definitely will. So let's put Rockies and the Giants in my stack list. And with the Giants, I'm always a little bit pessimistic about pinch hits and stuff like that. The Rockies lineup is pretty static. I mean, cleanup catcher. It's not a fun game to get to. I got Randall Grichuk tops here against the lefty, so we'll see if Brebbia can get 5 outs. If not, maybe Grichuk has an opportunity for maximum at bats. I would imagine that's like, if I'm to skip, my goal is to get Brebbia to Grichuk, and then we can bring in Manaea. So we'll see if he's able to do that. But that's pretty basic analysis here. I'm not really there on the pitchers, and because of the ownership, we got to get there on the offenses. Houston's on fire, and they killed Gossman last time. Why does everyone want to play him over Keller? Maybe the worst offense of the last decade. Houston's on fire, and they killed Gossman last time. Why does everyone want to play him over Keller and maybe the worst offense of the last decade? Wait, I'm confused. Oh, okay. I mean, people are playing Keller, right? 26%. I think it's just sticker shock, right? 11K for Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller hasn't been this good for long. And like I said, I think there is some room for regression. His overall K rate seems like it might be a little too high, 30%, with just a 10% swing and strike rate. Now the call strike's pretty doggone high. It is what it is. I'm in agreement to you. If I'm just matchup rating, yeah, give me Mitch Keller at PNC Park. Gossman getting shelled by the Astros last start, that doesn't bother me too much. I said good offenses can beat good pitching. I think I would personally have more Mitch Keller myself, though. But that's an edge if that's what you're looking at, hey man, that's your strategy, that's your edge. Don't feel pressure to do what the other kids are doing. I think Mitch Keller has a great chance to be my highest owned pitcher, and a lot of it is because of the matchup. The Astros matchup, just forget about the fact that they shelled him. They just don't project for a ton of strikeouts, right? They do have some that will strike out. Jokes, Myers, and Martin Maldonado, 30% K rate, and then Pena's at 25%. But Dubon, Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker, Abreu, they're going to put the ball in play. So, but I get it. But I think it's a longevity thing. Gossman's been striking out 30% for 3 years now, right? Whereas Mitch Keller's been doing it for 10 games, if that, you know? So I understand why the field is there aggressively. But yeah, the matchup's not warm and fuzzy for me. But that's good that you spot that, because I think that's a great way. That's a strategy to carve out to attack the slate. And it's something I agree with. I think Mitch Keller's matchup's just exponentially better. Kosman 35% K rate at home. I mean, sure, but like he also just has a high K rate everywhere. And Mitch Keller's getting ownership. He's 3 or 4 in ownership, right? We'll see if that changes. So over 1 in 4 lineups having him isn't unowned. Manai and Coors, I'm not doing that 4-prong. Just can't do it. Not even if there's a fire. Henry versus D-backs, I wouldn't do that. D-backs are not bad, particularly against lefties. Wait, what? Henry versus D-backs. No, it's Irvin versus D-backs. Henry versus Nationals. And I don't pitch lefties against the Nationals. They just 17% K rate. It's just a rough spot, and these are not good pitchers. So this is Exhibit A of bad hitting versus bad pitching, right? I say that, but they just don't strike out. Let me move off. 6% difference in home road helps. I don't really care about home road splits on the season too much, especially when it's such a good pitcher, right? Gossman, let's see, at home, Minnesota, Milwaukee strikes out a lot. Baltimore, he didn't really get a ton. He only got 4 Ks against Baltimore, and that was at home. Yankees strike out a lot. Seattle strikes out a lot. Detroit, one of the worst teams. So he's had a really strong strength of schedule at home. That's why I don't get too crazy in that, because the overall metrics will tell the story. I think it matters in some spots. I'm not saying it's completely irrelevant, but I think the season's a little too young to be kind of overly hung up on that. Angels hosting the Cubs. We only got 2 games left. Oh, wow. We boomed through it. Cubs throwing Hayden Wesneski taking on Tyler Anderson. Neither lineups are confirmed. Wesneski, I think he's just coming back from the IL here, right? So how many games did he miss? Last pitch on May 31st. So he didn't. So he came from IL last game. 4 Ks in that game, 3.2, got to 59 pitches. So we might be concerned about the pitch count here. Never really, I don't think I'm going to push the issue with him here. And then Tyler Anderson, I almost never pitch him. Cubs a 118 WRC plus against lefties. Tyler Anderson against righties, 300 plus average allowed, 1.36 home run per 9. Depending on this confirmed lineup, somebody that would really be interesting to me is Patrick Wisdom. Here's a guy that strikes out almost 40% of the time against lefties, but Anderson striking out righties at just 13%. So we can really neutralize his weakness and tap into this 20% barrel rate. And then hopefully he's in a decent spot in the lineup. And then Chris Morel, another guy that strikes out a lot, but when he's making contact, the barrel rate's ridiculous. So I like the Cubs a lot, actually. We'll see. Cubs ownership. Reasonable. Yan Gomes is the highest on Cubs. What? Wisdom at 5% all day long, all day strong. I'll take that. Dansby Swanson. Hold me closer. Dansby Swanson. And if Dansby is going to be in the shadows of the 40+% ownership of Dela Cruz and Marcano, I can see him thriving, right? He's number 2 in price, though. And then since we're not really getting to Wesneski, even though I don't think against lefties, 316 average allowed. So that's Ohtani territory. The projected lineup has Ohtani leading off. And then you can dip in his righty splits, which against righties, almost a 29% line drive rate, just a 33% ground ball rate. I wonder if his BABIP against righties is overperforming. Let's go check that out. I agree with. Oh, okay, Chuck. I mean, yeah. If I'm like answering theoretical stuff like that, just know it's not like an attack on you or anything like that. It's just people watching or lurking might want to hear that, because I do think some places irresponsibly reference home road splits, and like I said, I don't think it's completely irrelevant, but I think it's not consumed with the right context. And that's hitter splits, that's pitcher splits. Like I'm seeing people talk about hitter on the road versus righties, and that's such a dumb thing to look at, because it minimalizes the sample size. When you have a stat like WRC plus, which considers park factors, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm talking about stuff like that, because I do think there's a lot of places that don't. What are we looking at? I'm looking at BABIP for Wisniewski against righties, because it feels like that line drive rate should be giving a higher average. 242 BABIP against righties, so yeah, it's a little low, right? What kind of ownership are we getting on Trout? Matt Tice, is it? Okay, Ohtani 6%. Trout at 3%. I'm a substack Angels, and I think I'm a full stack Cubs. Here, what up, Josh? I think Moniak will start over Ward, probably lead off. I think that's fair. Hopefully we get that lineup at a reasonable amount of time. All right, one game left on the docket. As a reminder, the RunDFS.com front page is down probably maybe late tonight, midday tomorrow. We're migrating the domain server, so it's just kind of jacked up. So if you are looking to get the spreadsheet and the premium Discord, DM me on Twitter or Discord, and we're doing transactions through PayPal, and we'll get you set up. If you, let's see, it's $20 a week, $35 2 weeks, $70 a month, or the best deal on the table is $250 for the rest of the year. The year, not just baseball, the year. You're going to get the first couple months of football and basketball, and it also comes with a $100 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher, so $250. So DM me to take advantage of that, and we'll get you set up tonight. Now, we are at our main event of the evening. Seattle Mariners taking on the San Diego Padres. Logan Gilbert up against Joe Musgrove. 3.6 is your run total for the Mariners. 4.1 for the Padres. Logan Gilbert, 3.03 expected ERA, 28.7% K rate. And then Joe Musgrove, inversely, 3.46 expected ERA, almost a 1.4 whip and just a 21% K rate. You might expect the K rate to rise a little bit. Now, Musgrove is coming with ownership. Is that a price thing? 78, it is a price thing, has to be. Logan Gilbert is interesting, right? We talk about underperforming offenses. It does feel like the Padres have been somewhat stagnant. So just looking at like talented pitchers versus ownership tonight, Logan Gilbert comes in at 5% owned, and it's a tough matchup. Sure, they're still below average in WRC plus, and they got some really strong names. But I think 5% is a good opportunity for Gilbert when we think about some of the ownership on some of these other pitchers. So I think I get there. So I'll throw him in the tier 3 blender. And then Joe Musgrove, I think I'm also going to start him off as a 3. I hate that he's so high owned. I think we said he was the highest owned Fanduel pitcher, which is just, it just feels weird on a slate that gives us, a couple options that Musgrove is. But I'll give Musgrove the benefit of the matchup. We just talked about the home games for Gausman. Is this lane right here, this 3 through 9 in the projected, the strikeout rates are incredible. Just really incredible. So teams and pitchers have been sneaking into some really, really good games because of the K rates. So I don't think it's an asinine thing that Musgrove is popular. I just think I wasn't ready for him to be the highest owned pitcher on Fanduel tonight, but I get it. And on DraftKings, he's number 2. How do you guys play this? How are you all going to play this? Couple strong ISO opportunities. He is struggling to get righties out. He is giving up a high home run per night for now. But I'll say this in his defense: just a 27.5% hard contact rate, 43% ground ball rate. The line drive rate's not where you want it. It has to be at least a tier 3, but I think if he moves up to tier 2, it's probably because of the price. And I don't necessarily expect him to get shelled with a 3.6 run total. But if this lineup is as projected, I probably promote him to tier 2, and we just spin the wheel and make a deal with these pitchers. I hate to be that linear with the field in my pitcher ownership, but I get it. I think Logan Gilbert's a fun one, though. So Gilbert and Peralta. Well, Peralta was grabbing ownership, too. So Gilbert and Gibson are the 2 lowest owned pitchers that we've discussed. Maybe Giolito as well. Were we missing any sneaky guys? And then I guess anytime a pitcher's grabbing this type of ownership, that means the opposing team is untouched. So I think we get to another 4% stack like the Mariners, right? Sub 1%. So just to have that leverage in our portfolio of lineups. So I'll go there. Really, really spread out tonight. But there's a couple of these stacks here. I know it's looking like a lot of teams. There's a couple of these stacks that I'm only going to get to like 4% just because I don't need to get to a crazy amount. But we saw really low ownership numbers on the Astros, the Blue Jays, the Mariners now, Giants and Coors, the Rockies and Coors. So we're gonna be pretty diverse. And then Padres, I think it was Substack Padres with the focus on 1 through 4. Logan Gilbert's weakness is power to lefties. Tatis. Not Tatis. Soto. Cronenworth, maybe. So I'll go Substack on the Padres. By the way, I'm gonna fill out this player thing. It's all part of the VIP stuff. Just a heads up. You'll have access to it. And I'll also be in the Discord chat here in a little bit. Wisdom is your dong pick. I like that. All right, that's our slate. I think we did a good job of thumbing through all these games, keeping lineups updated, and pulling away some thoughts, some ideas. Let me see something here. By the way, if you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, throw them at me. Like we did yesterday, I'm going to throw you over to the homie. First of all, thank you guys for participating in the raid yesterday and the last 2 times we've done it. My boy Terry launching his YouTube channel. When we started the raid on Thursday or Wednesday, he only had 28 subs. We're up to 119. So if you're still sticking around, do me a favor, at least go over there and sub, hit the thumbs up. And I would recommend sticking around because he's a sharp dude. But go over there, tell him we sent you. I'll copy and paste the link in chat. It's Roto Scouts on YouTube, and he does a lot of free. It's all free content right now. He's kind of like hurting everyone else because he's so gosh dang good at it. Articles, stuff like that. So go check him out. Tell him we sent you. Have some fun with it. Hit that thumbs up. If we could surprise him with like 40, 50 thumbs up, and could we get his subs to 140? That would be crazy. But anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, making part of my afternoon, be part of your afternoon. Hope you guys crushed it tonight. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.